Hi guys, Dorothy here, professional astrologer. You can find me on the web, nhastrologer.com. Today, I'm going to give you the astrological insight for the week of August 20th to the 26th. And what will that include? Here's a quick overview. Mercury is now direct, but is actually stationary on Monday. So what does that mean? I'm going to give you a little more insight into that so we can work with it to the best of our abilities, right? We also have the sun moving into the mutable zodiac sign of the summer, which is Virgo, out of that fixed summer sign of Leo into Virgo. That happens in the middle of the week, and what that means. We also have the moon in the sign of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces this week. So I will explain what that means as well. And we end the week on Sunday with the full moon in the sign of Pisces. First big lunation we've had. That isn't an eclipse. So what does all that mean? So I'm going to give you some insight as to the overall energies of what this means. This is not a personal reading, but this is the overall energy we have to work with. If things that I say resonate with you, then that means it's for you. You get to go with it. If something does not resonate with you, don't create yourself situations that you don't need to be part of. So don't create your own problems, right? Okay. All right, that's how we use these forecasts. It's about the energy that we have available to us, and if it means something to us, we get to use it. If it doesn't, just walk away. Don't be overly concerned with it. All right, so I'm going to give you lots of details, so stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So let's get started. Monday, one of the main things that I mentioned in the preview is that Mercury is still stationary. Yes, it is now facing forward, if you will, instead of, when we're driving and we look behind us and we're going retrograde, right? And now he's looking forward. The car is in drive. We're getting ready to move forward, but we haven't really, Mercury, if you will, hasn't really taken its foot off the brake yet, and it hasn't quite hit the accelerator. It's moving slow. Give yourself this whole week for you to catch up with the insight and the communications that may have gone awry over the last few weeks while Mercury has been retrograde. And the Mercury retrograde really has not been that difficult. The Mars retrograde has been challenging for a lot of people. Me, one of them. It's just where it's happening in your own personal charts, which we're not talking about today. But with Mercury moving direct, but not really going that fast yet, rather stationary, for the beginning of this week especially, take your time. Gather information. Don't make big choices yet. It's not that time. Because we are in a waxing lunar phase. Like I mentioned in the preview, the end of this week we have a full moon. So that means the moon is waxing. And as the moon is waxing, that means we're gaining more insight and enlightenment into the things that are important to us. So Monday is just a day where we can gather information still, but not necessarily the best day to take steps forward. Not yet, okay? Not unless you're absolutely certain that this is important for you. All right, take a break. Now, moving on to Tuesday. On Tuesday, the moon does enter the sign of Capricorn. It's at midnight, so if you live on the West Coast, it was Monday night at 9 p.m. East Coast, where I'm at, it's midnight on Tuesday morning. The moon in Capricorn for the next 60 hours, so a little over 2.5 days. That energy is about taking charge, emotionally working towards goals, right? Since the moon's in Capricorn, it's going to be making aspects to a lot of the other earthy planets, if you will. The first aspect we have on Tuesday that I'd like to talk about is that the moon makes a trine aspect to Uranus, and that's at 5 in the morning. So we may actually feel very motivated Tuesday morning, especially if you're an early bird, and I'm talking East Coast time, 5 a.m., we are very motivated to get things done. Uranus, yes, is retrograde, but that's all right. The moon's going to come through, make a quick hit, and if you're inspired to create something, now's the time to do it. The moon will then make a conjunction to Saturn. Saturn and Uranus are in a trine with each other right now. Earthy trine, both planets are retrograde. So we're really gaining some insight into what our foundation is all about. What is steady and sturdy underneath our feet at this point in time. I'm not saying the rug has to come out for you to see what was strong, but what I'm saying with the moon coming through and connecting with Uranus and then connecting with Saturn, and pretty soon it will connect with Mars and Pluto, and that is on Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday we have the moon coming through, connecting to all of these things that have everything to do with our foundation and what is our strong belief and our careers, because that's what Capricorn energy is about. How the world sees us, what we feel as our strong structure and foundation underneath us, whether it's the career, whatever it is for you. A lot of people will be looking at their careers, right? And is it steady, and is it strong, and is it sturdy? This is something that's very important. Or if it's not your career, something else that has that strength and that meaning to you, okay? So that is what Tuesday and Wednesday, the 21st and the 22nd, the energies of all of these are about, okay? Because that moon in Capricorn, connecting to Saturn, connecting to Uranus, connecting to Pluto, who else? Lots of other aspects. I don't have to do all of them. This would be hour long, and I'm not into the hour-long videos. So make sure Tuesday and Wednesday you are ready to do the work that you need to do. All right. For example, I'm creating classes. It would be really good for me to make sure that I have my foundation and the bones of my classes all ready to go. Not teach until September. Come check that out on my website if you're interested in learning astrology. But it's also important that I have the outlines ready to go, which I do. Just an example. What's your structure? What's the bones of whatever project or anything that you're working on? What is that structure all about? And that's what we get to look at Tuesday and Wednesday. I know, I kind of recapped. And in the meantime, we also have, because the sun is about to move into Virgo, we also have the sun in the final 2.5, 3 degrees of Leo, Monday, Tuesday, into Wednesday. The sun enters the sign of Virgo 9:04 p.m. West Coast on Wednesday the 22nd, and it is at 12:09 East Coast in the morning on the 23rd of August. So different days on each coast, but needless to say, in the middle of the night on the 22nd and 23rd of August, the sun enters the sign of Virgo. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the sun has been in that final fixed degrees of Leo, the fixed summer sign, right? We're going to be feeling anxious sometimes. When we're at the very end of each zodiac sign, we tend to feel like we're missing something, or we're feeling like a little critical about something. And it doesn't have to be a negative critical, but we're feeling hyper-focused. Like, maybe I missed something. What should I be doing? Because it's been a difficult summer for many people to be creative. There have been a few people who have really been able to grow with this and go with this creativity of all the Leo eclipses and all of the energy during this Leo time period, but it's a rare person who's been able to do that. There's been a few, but not a lot. Again, there's been so many conflicting energies this summer that it's not been the easiest time to accomplish a lot. When the sun moves into Virgo, we have this opportunity for all the information that's been coming at us actually since Gemini time. All this information that's been coming at us and we've been gathering, and whether you've been writing it down or taking notes or just taking mental notes, we actually have the opportunity now to start sifting through that information, sifting through the sand, if you will. It's like panning for gold. You know, the heavy stuff goes to the bottom. And so we're going to sift the smaller grains and sift and sift and sift. And then what's left are those beautiful nuggets of information. This is a way that we can use Virgo. This is a way that Virgo is very discerning. Some people call Virgo picky, but it also is incredibly discerning, because when there's so much information, it's time for us to decide what it is we want to pick and choose, just like it's the harvest time of year as well. It's part of the harvest time of year with Virgo the Virgin, always holding that sheath of wheat, so we know it is this time of year for the harvest. So picking the best pieces of whatever has been coming at us since that Gemini period. And again, we've had so many eclipses, so many retrograde planets. The insight we've been able to gain on who we are and what we want has been astounding. And if you're feeling upset and like life is not working out well for you, then I would respectfully ask you to slow down and look at what you're doing and the choices that you're making. Because if you're feeling really, really difficult about some things, then you're not making the choices that are true to your heart, and you're not making the choices that are true to what information you have, the information that you've been seen, the information you've been shown, not been seen, the information you've seen and been shown. There we go, let's say that properly. That is what we should be doing in this time of year that we're now in, that Virgo time of year. All right, I hope that makes sense. The moon moves into Aquarius also on Thursday the 23rd, and that is a very analytical place for the moon. It is an air sign, so it's going to just add and contribute to categorizing, analyzing what is it that we want our life to look like at this point in time. This is the time of year when many people are getting ready to go back to college, back to high school, back to a regular routine. So that is also that Virgo energy. Okay, so we can hardly get away with not paying attention to what's going on these days. All right, so on Friday, it's a little bit of a stressful day just because the moon in Aquarius, which that's not stressful because that's mainly just about thinking things through and really going to analyze what you feel about stuff. But it is making a square aspect to Jupiter and an opposition to Mercury. So basically between, let's see, 4:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. East Coast time, we have a fixed T-square that the moon fills in the blanks, and it is causing a lot of stress for a lot of people. So Friday feels like a frustrating day. Just know that it is, and don't try and push too hard against it. It's just, if you bend something too hard, it can break. So this is one of those days where things could break, but if you're feeling the tension and stresses of life and whatever is going on in your moment, that moment in time for you, just step back and just let everything be. We can step out of these difficult situations, all right, if we choose to. So that's Friday. A little bit of stress, sorry. I don't know, there's nothing else I could say about that, except we have a choice. If it's a frustrating day, then you go find things to do that are not frustrating for you. All right? I know it's a simple solution, but most of us don't believe that can be the truth, and it is. All right, Saturday. We're moving on to Saturday. Not a lot. Yeah, the moon and, oh no, the sun in Virgo. Moving on to Saturday, we have the sun in Virgo making a trine aspect to Uranus and to Saturn. So this is a grand trine in Earth. So while Friday may have been stressful and not a whole lot of fun, if we're able to take a step back and move out of the stress of that energy, when we get to Saturday and that grand trine in Earth, I'm loving this because it helps us to feel very grounded. This week hasn't been a week that is too awful spacey, but you know, July and most of August has been spinning people off of their axis a lot. This earthy, beautiful Earth grand trine between these three planets will help us to feel much more grounded, all right? And like we can really step into something that feels concrete for a change. And this is the final day before the full moon. So the moon is as bright as she can be. She's reflecting back to us as much as she possibly can. You know, during these last couple of days, she's in that gibbous phase, which is all about analyzing and interpreting information. So, just before she's a full moon, this is what we get to do on Saturday. Really look at all the information. I know it's not always a work day for people, but whatever you're doing on Saturday and whatever's important for you, this is an opportunity to pull things together. We've had so many things in life that have been pulling us apart. And so we can be destroyed in a way. So we can then put back together the pieces that belong back together and leave the pieces that don't belong to us on the wayside. This is a really wonderful opportunity for us to engage in our own choices and really engage in what it is that we want to build for our future, what that looks like now after a summer of an awful lot of change for a lot of people. This is a good beginning for that. And then on Sunday, the 26th, we have the full moon is at 3 degrees of Pisces. The sun entered Pisces in the middle of the night, Saturday night into Sunday, making sextile aspects to all these earthy planets, the Uranus and Saturn. It's a great energy. That sextile creates, it helps us to take the physical things and move them into a spiritual realm, right? That's that moon in Pisces as well. And then when the moon and the sun are in an opposition, that full moon, and that happens to be on the East Coast at just before 8 in the morning, so we won't really get to see it until later in the night. But here we have that opportunity for that full moon and to really start to transcend, if you will, the very personal pieces of what's been going on for us over the last number of weeks and take that to a whole nother spiritual level, because the moon has been in all those transpersonal signs. I put my booklet down for the whole week, and again, that's about doing things that are for the greater good. And so while we have a lot of personal things to be working on, it still, if I'm feeling better and I'm sharing the goodness that I have with the world, then that helps somebody else, and that domino effect continues to move on. So while a lot of these things tend to be personal choices, and our own life situations, we'll all be making choices that are different but similar. So how do I want to end this? Use that full moon in Pisces. So connect with your higher self, with your spirit, with your soul, so you can take the things that you hear intuitively and bring them out into the world, especially since we have that beautiful Earth trine. All right. That's a lot, guys. I'm going to leave you with that. It was 20 minutes worth of video. Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. And I am a professional astrologer, and this is what I do. So if you need personal help, come to my website, nhastrologer.com, and I will see you soon. And when I'm inspired to do some live videos, I will create those every once in a while. All right, blessings. Namaste.